Hi. Sorry, Philip, can you stop?
You're on mute, Philip.
Wouldn't it? Sorry, lads. Didn't realize I was on mute. Anyway, welcome to the Unholy Trinity podcast. Now, as you can see, there's only two of the Unholy Trinity here at the minute, but the guy below must be the unholiest one of the lot. It's the legend that is the
I am the unholiest. I've
got to give the guest. The guest has to get the privilege of this, Dermot. You'll be the unholiest one next week, right?
Hang on, if I can find the right fucking background. There we go. That's better.
Right. Anyway, as I was saying, this is the first of an occasional broadcast that we're going to let rip. Anything goes in this program tonight, and it's very great. We're delighted to have the legend that is the Irish Hotspur, Dave Harris, as our guest. So, how are you, Dave? Thanks for coming on.
No, look, thank you very much for having me. Delighted to be here. Should be a good podcast. The three of us always have a lot to say, don't we? So, hopefully it lives up to the billing.
Yes, and I'll hand you over now to the second most evil person on the podcast, Dermotron, who will take us in from now on. Oh, look, he's up on the top now. He's up on the top.
Yeah, I'm like Moses, right? Down below me is the devil and the fallen angel, and I'm Moses. I'm leading the Tottenham fans to the promised land with Ange behind me. And Ange is saying, "Are we there yet, mate?" And I'm saying, "Not yet, Ange. Get back in line. Behave yourself. I'm leading this crowd, not you." But anyway, where do we start in this podcast? As we say, well, we're going to start with a bit of controversy because that's what I want this podcast to be. Controversial. Now, Dave and the devil, as I'm going to call him in this podcast.
Thought you were going to call him Jack there for a minute.
I nearly did, actually. I nearly did call him Jack. Sorry, Jack, you've aged a bit. Bless you. How are you? Anyway, Jack, if you're watching, I'm sorry. I do apologise. We've had a lot with the FAI guys over the last couple of weeks, months, since Stephen Kenny was sacked as Ireland manager. And I think it's been a shit show. It's an absolute shit show. You've got Jack Grealish and Declan Rice, the two biggest traitors since Dev and Michael Collins. You've going over the water, looking over there, thinking, do you know what, lads? be quite easy qualifying for a tournament over there. And we leave Ireland alone because they'll go nowhere. They bring John Delaney with them. He fucked us over as well, by the way. So I'm going to start with Dave on this. Is Irish football the biggest shit show in town?
No, it's an absolute clown show. I mean, where do you start? From John Delaney using the FAI's money to pay for his daughter's wedding and his wife's birthday parties and stuff like that. Or, even recently, the FAI were complaining about the money, so the government said they'd help them out with some money, and they couldn't even fall in line with them regulations to be able to get that. They're still giving out side money to the guys in charge and stuff like that. It's an absolute clown world, the FAI, and to be brutally honest, I don't blame the likes of Rice and Grealish and people like that going and playing for England at all. You're greatest, one of your most recognisable players, if not the most recognisable Irishman ever, in Roy Keane. Look how he talks about the FAI. You go and listen to plenty of, ex-guys that represented Ireland, Jason McAteer, people like that who do podcasts. They talk about how much of a clown show the setup is behind the scenes, how amateurish it is. And we sit here and wonder why we don't qualify for tournaments anymore. Our golden era is gone, but we never used that and the money that they brought in off it to lay foundations to progress players and bring them out of the country, into top level football. And it's, look, behind the scenes here, you go into any small town, any village across Ireland, could have a population of 50 people and it's got a GAA pitch like a bloody carpet, better than most soccer pitches. You look at the soccer pitches, it's usually a farmer's field with a couple of sheep on it with a couple of goalposts and wonky lines. It's an absolute disgrace to set up in this country is. You look at the League of Ireland. I mean, there's other leagues. You look at Denmark, leagues like that. We could have a good competitive league like that. Give ourselves a bit of hope in Europe. But again, it's an absolute shambles. The whole system is broke here for football.
Philip, look, you're the elder statesman of this unholy Trinity, right? You're the one that's seen it all. You were there at the beginning, you were there in the middle, and you're there at the end.
I'm not that old. Go on.
Well, for about 500 years old, by the way. Where's your devil's steak, by the way? Where have you put it tonight?
No, I didn't have it. Yeah, I have it in the fire heating up here. No,
right. Where are you on this? Look, you're more for GAA. You like your GAA, right? You're a big Spurs fan, but you always big up GAA. I get where Dave's coming from.
I like GAA, but I'll tell you. You're quite right, Dave, what you say about being the shit show. I mean, I remember that. I just thought of this before the show came on. I remember hearing a story years ago. Ireland qualified. Now, it could have been Italian 90. It could have been USA 94, right? I'm not quite sure, right? It could have been before that. But when the team was traveling out to the tournament, right, the FAI officials went into business class. The team was in economy class. Now, that just about sums things up for me. It should have been the other way around, right? It wasn't, right? Now, as regarding, I was talking to a friend of mine, St. Pat's fan, went down to Galway 2 weeks ago to see St. Pat's play Galway. First game of the season, the Galway pitch was almost unplayable. Now, I know they had a lot of rain down there, but that pitch has to stand another 18 matches. And it was already unplayable in match one. So, where is the infrastructure to keep our soccer clubs keeping their facilities in order? Most of the grounds could do with tearing down and rebuilding, with a few notable exceptions. The St. Pat's ground, Richmond Park, needs a complete revamp. Shelbourne is the same. So, like the GAA are now getting 50 million basically to build up Casement Park in Belfast. They say it's not going to the GAA, but it is, because once everything's finished, it'll be all GAA matches that are played there. So we are very much the poor relations, and I put rugby ahead of us in the pecking order here in this country. And I can't see it changing anytime soon. And now we've got this shit show of a manager. Okay, John O'Shea is there for the next two matches, but it's who comes after him is going to be the big one. Can we get anybody that's got any reputation or any hope of bringing that Irish team forward? I somehow doubt it.
And do you know, just quickly on the GAA, the reason why the government are so quick to fund it is, look, not only because it's the national sport, but like I alluded to, the money filters down to grassroots. You go to any little town across this country, it's like a carpet. It's like the Premier League pictures you're seeing on the weekends. But why would they continue to give the FIR money, or why would they want to give them any money when it's always been corrupt? It doesn't go down to grassroots football. That's why people are so hesitant to give them any money, because it doesn't go where it needs to go.
That's true. Well, I'll give you an example, David and Dermot. Our village here, right, population about 150 people, has the most lovely little football GA pitch with floodlights, perfect pitch, showers, the whole lot. The county team and the ladies team train on that pitch. It's so good, and yet they play. Maybe they're not even a senior team; they're a junior team, and that's because the money is filtered back down to the local level. Plus, the lads here put in a great amount of work on it as well. But we don't have a soccer club here within Longford to be the nearest, which is 20 miles away.
The thing is, though, we've got so many great people involved at grassroots level in football that put a lot of time in. You know, they try to up the standards with what they can and what's available to them, but they never get any help. And ultimately, a lot of them end up getting pissed off and walking away because they're like, what's the point of me putting in all this effort? Whereas with the Gaelic clubs, they get, you know, people putting the effort, but it's also rewarded. You know, they also get help. They get funding for everything. Massive difference.
Look, you have to look back to the organizations, how they were established, how they were brought to life, how they were brought together. And the GAA has been here since before the formation of our state, before the formation of the Irish Free State. Back then, that's what it was called before it changed to Ireland. It was called the Irish Free State when we got our independence in 1922. The GAA were a big part of that. They're a big part of the War of Independence. They're a big part of the Easter Rising. So the GAA is inbred in Irish psyche, in Irish traditions.
But you know something else that cropped up recently there, Dermot? Just quickly there. You know JP McManus, the racing horse, the millionaire, the guy who owns Adair Manor. He's given every GAA county in Ireland a million euros to be spread out amongst the clubs. Our local club got 25 grand. Which is like winning the lottery to a club that size. Can you see anybody like him giving the same thing to the soccer clubs in the country? I can't.
No, I would there.
Yeah. No.
And soccer is a poor relation.
Yeah.
Soccer is like the prodigal son that's been kicked out of the family, and we're like the black sheep of the family. That's soccer in Ireland.
Yeah. And a lot of people will say, why is that, John Delaney?
Yeah. Well, soccer, also, if you look at rugby, All-Ireland team. You look at any other sport as an All-Ireland team. Soccer's the odd one out.
But you know what, Dermo? We can sit here and moan about, you know, the GAA being around in Ireland longer than the football and stuff like that, which I totally get. For instance, when I was living in Kilcullen, the Gar pitch and the soccer pitch were on an even kill. The Celtic Tiger hit Ireland.
Yeah.
The guy went one way. The soccer didn't do anything with their money. They kept it. They got greedy. So, you know, we could sit here and moan about all we want. But realistically, when the money came into the country through the Celtic Tiger, one funded their, you know, everything properly. The other one didn't. So, for me personally, I don't think it's something to do with GAA being in Ireland longer than the soccer. I think when the money came in, it's, you know, they operated different ways with it. Like Philip alluded to, JP McManus would rather give his money to the GAA clubs because he knows it's going to help out local communities. He's not going to ring up the FAI and do that because no one knows where it's going to go.
It's organised better. I mean, Philip been saying this, haven't we? The organisation is better. It's better run. It's professionally run. The FAI, they're run like a circus. But look, Dave, who do you think will get the job full time? Who's your money on?
I'll be honest, it's a tough one. The FAI is broke. They don't have that sort of money, you know, that some of these managers will be looking for and stuff like that. And not only that, you know, if any manager is going to touch the job, they're going to want to come in with certain assurances and stuff like that. And I don't think the FAI are in any position to give them any. You know, the reason why we got someone like Stephen Kenny in charge in the first place is because the FAI was broke. They were using the sponsorship money to pay the managers. And, you know, you can't keep going along like that. And all of a sudden, the finances come out. Oh, lo and behold, Stephen Kenny, the under-21 manager, is put into the senior position. Now we're sitting here. Everyone's going, who's going to be the next manager? Okay, but we brought in John O'Shea, who's been involved in the Ireland setup all this time anyway, on an interim basis. What does that tell you? The people that they're trying to sound out, that they think are doing a good, that have the capabilities of taking this young sort of squad forward, they can't afford. So they're scratching around trying to see what they can afford. It's that simple. And they can't go off and be rogue, because then the government won't fund them with anything because of the strict rules. So they have to stick within it, and it's trying to find a guy that's going to sign on a similar contract that Stephen Kenny did.
Yeah. Do you know what we need? Do you remember back in Trapattoni's time, Dennis O'Brien subsidized his wages?
Yeah.
We need some other sugar daddy coming in like that to do that, to get a decent manager in. Other than that, we're going to end up with a yellow pack Division 2 standard manager who's not going to bring us anywhere.
Well, look, whatever happens, the three of us will always support the boys in green, no matter what.
Oh,
no
yeah.
matter if they're playing crap or good, we'll be there. All three of us bleed Ireland. If there was a war, the three of us would be at the front line. Well, I'm behind you two anyway.
I mean, we sat up at the Aviva nearly every game last season, watching our team take 0 shots on target. So if that doesn't tell you we're behind it, regardless of what we're saying.
If there was a war on the front line, me and Dave were pushing Philip up front because he's experienced.
Thanks, Les. Thanks a million.
We'll let you take the first hit, Philip. You can tell me and Dave what it's like, and we'll make a decision after that. What we do.
Be like Blackadder goes for. We'll be right behind you, about 25 miles behind you. Yeah.
We'll say to Philip, right, do you want to go over, Philip? Me and Dave looking at each other. Do you know what? Do you fancy a pint? Right.
Yeah.
Let's get back to it.
Go on.
Go on. Let's get back to a subject we all love. This is another team that we would bleed for. This is another team we will go through a brick wall for. Even Mrs. Tron knows. Tottenham is my second love. Even she knows that. No, it's actually Mrs. Tron. No, she's not my first love. You're my first love. Tottenham's my second.
I'm waiting for the incoming bottles at Dermot's head.
Yeah, I've just got a bollocking. For saying Tottenham's my second love. Mrs. Tron needs. I don't know. Anyway, big up to Mrs. Tron. She designed the thumbnail for tonight, by the way. It was her.
Very good. Very good.
Ange. Why is he not more respected? And it really pisses me off. Dave, I've gone on to your fan show and I have said, them people that want Ange out are fucking stupid. Either that or they're a bit thick. Or they're drinking too much. I can't understand why he gets so much disrespect of our fan base. The man's working miracles. We're higher than we're better off where we should have been. We're in 5th place. Going for the Champions League. We could end up in Europe this season. Okay, we fucked up the League Cup, and all right, he held his hands up to that, but how was he going to find out how good them players were? We were in Europe, so he's got to use them sometime. They let him down. Not Ange's fault. The matches he's lost, we can point out, you can point out, Dave, me and Philip can point out mistakes by certain players that haven't stood up, that haven't actually done their job correctly. So how's that Ange's fault? When a player walks over that white line, it's their responsibility, not the manager's. So it really pisses me off that he's not respected more. And I'm going to start with you, Dave, then I go to you, Philip. Why is he not respected more, Dave? And I'm really pissed off over this.
Look, first of all, you got to remember, he's a trailblazer for Australian managers, right? Australian managers, we've never something that people haven't really seen before in the Premier League on, with the reputation that he's got. So that already counts against him. The fact that he's, again, booked a trend and he's gone from Scotland making the jump to the Premier League, which what it used to be when Ferguson, Jock Stein and all them used to do it. However, in my lifetime, that's reversed and you will normally have managers going the other way from the English football to the Scottish League. So he's booked a trend in that regard. So that's two things that are already against the guy walking in here. A lot of people, when he signed on at Celtic and again when he signed on at Spurs, almost treat him a bit like a novice. However, his football on the results quickly shut them up at Celtic, and it did over the first 10 games at Tottenham Hotspur. Look, being brutally honest, I don't think it's just an Ange thing. I think it's just a Tottenham thing in general. And what I mean by that is Spurs fans are very quick to pull the plug on a manager at the first sight of trouble, at the first sight of things going wrong. And I understand it because we're so starved of trophies, right? The club that my father grew up, that Philip grew up supporting and stuff, won trophies. Since Enoch, we've won one. So that's the big cat in the bag. So no matter what manager walks in here, they're automatically going to be under that pressure straight away because of the demands from the fans. And the fans aren't wrong to demand that.
No,
however, I'm at the point, what's done is done. I get it. Am I happy about it? No, I'm angry just as much as everybody else. I'm going to be brave by the time we lift another trophy, right? I didn't think it was going to be like this when I started supporting Spurs as a kid. However, Jurgen Klopp wouldn't have went to win everything in club football for Liverpool if they pulled the plug on him at the first sign of trouble when he first started there. Man City wouldn't have done the same if Man City pulled the plug on Guardiola after the first season when it wasn't living up to what it was hyped up to be. Man United under Sir Alex Ferguson, Arsenal wouldn't be in title races right now if they didn't stick by Arteta. When things go wrong, Spurs fans and they want to rip up the script, start again. Everything's useless.
Yeah.
It's not the case. At the end of the day, we lost against Wolves. I'm not happy. I was expecting a win. However, everyone's making it very complicated. Everyone's questioning Ange Postecoglou, and it's been a constant question since he first started here. I told everybody, the first sign of trouble, you go to Ange. No, we won. We lost to Fulham. Everyone went for Ange. Then, that period of games, the last 15 haven't gone right. There's been a lot of questions after the Chelsea defeat. A lot of questions about Ange Postecoglou. Reality is, let's be brutally simple here. First 10 games, that was Ange ball with a couple of tweaks that needed to be made going forward. That was proper Ange ball. Everyone was pressing. You go back to the last 15 or so games when we've had to rely on squad players. That pressing has completely dropped and we've been very easy to play against. The reason why is because when you go to press as a team, the first 10 games it was coordinated. The striker went, the ringers went, the fullback went, and the midfielders went, which meant we suffocated them, took the ball off them, rolled back at them. That's not happening. Richarlison is the only player right now pressing. Everyone else is slacking off and being lazy. And I think Ali Gold nailed it on the head when he said Andrew's biggest problem over the next 2 weeks is adjusting the attitude of the squad. And I think he's absolutely spot on. People could sit here and moan about the tactics and be naive. Is James Maddison anywhere near the levels he was at the start of the season? No. Is Sonny? Debatable. With Kulusevski, nowhere near it in terms of intensity, work rate, and press and stuff like that. Neither are the midfielders and neither are the fullbacks. It's been a huge drop-off. And at the end of the day, it just goes to highlight, instead of going after Ange Postecoglou, go after the squad players that have been here for quite some time and just not good enough, that continue to let you down under every single manager. Is it any wonder why we always sit here and find ourselves asking questions of the manager when he has to rely on squad players? The whole idea of the squad is so that your other players don't become complacent. It adds competition. But ours ain't competition. Ours is just coming in, and when they're not doing the work, when we get everyone else back there, like, well, if they can get away with it, why can't I? Unfortunately, footballers are like children, and that's the way it is. So for me, it's simple. Just give them an attitude adjustment. Tell them if you're not going to press, I will haul you off after 5 minutes in front of the whole world watching. Don't come moaning to me because I've already warned you. So it's now up to you to do it. Simple as.
Yeah. Look, can I just state very quickly, Philip, I'm not having to go at the whole fan base. It's just what I've seen on Twitter.
Yeah, sure.
And I just state that. It's just what I've seen on Twitter. Philip, quick question. Can I just very quickly for me and Ferguson, because I did start this. How strict are the citizen rules? Could an Irish American be eligible to play for the Republic?
No, I don't think so. I think it's because of the closeness between England and Ireland. You know,
it's the granny
grandfather. Yeah, I don't think it extends to America. No, I don't think so.
All right.
I'm open to correction that, but I don't think so.
Sorry, Philip. We just had and then big up to him. Then this from Keith, Philip, and this I want you to follow on from this as well. Just need to see Ange to instruct the players on the pitch. Is that a fault of Ange?
Well, he's not the most vociferous. Or not, he doesn't show his emotion that much on the bench.
Yeah.
Unlike some managers, but I'm sure. Like we don't see the camera on him all the time. I'm sure he is barking out instructions during the match. I'm sure he does. Every manager does that, So maybe not as much as others, but if I can just go back to the thing, I think the problem, a lot of the, what would I call them, newer Spurs fans, the new fans, right? Probably in this age want instant success. It's not arriving, and then they get frustrated and they start taking it out on the manager. Older fans like myself and Dave, and even and anybody who's been around for maybe 20 years or so or more, are a little bit more patient, and we tend to it'll happen when it happens. We don't really go on the Ange bashing routine. I don't anyway, certainly. But as regarding the reason why the thing has dropped off a bit, I think that Chelsea game was the start of our problems. And we lost Maddison and Van de Ven to bad injuries in that match. And we got Romero sent off. Okay. We up to now, I don't think we may have had one match with a full team since then. I'm open to correction on that. But we've either had
I think the last game, you're right. The last game, we didn't even have a full team.
We didn't have it. We missed the two fullbacks, and that was a crucial loss in that game. So tomorrow or Saturday. It looks like Destiny Udogie will be back. It doesn't look as if Porro's going to make it, right? But it's probably going to be the nearest thing we've had to the team that started the season and went on that great run. So Ange has had 2 weeks with him, right? And I hope you're right, Dave, that he's impressed on the team. Get back to the pressing mentality. Get up there and no slacking, no lazing, because we have players coming through the ranks that will be putting pressure on some of these guys to get into the team. I'm talking about Jamie Donnelly.
Yeah.
I'm talking about Santiago, who's never really got a look in, and Will Lancashire, right? And we've also look at this guy we got coming in the summer, the young Swedish guy, Lucas. I can never remember his surname. Bergvall. He is going to be something else. So that guy. So that I've said it since the start of this season. I think this season is a consolidation season for Spurs. Get to know Ange. Get to know everything that's happened around the club. We'll qualify for Europe. It's next year. I think the big season for Tottenham, because it's going to second season. Things will be an awful lot easier with the new players coming in, and I hope then to God that Ange gets a lot more praise than he has been getting from some of the fan base. Only some of the fan base now. I have to reiterate that. Most of us are behind them. So
now
it's.
Sorry for Dave. Sorry, Philip. Go on. Sorry.
No, I was going to say, look, Ange, this is his first season in the Premiership as well. It's not as if he's done 10 seasons before with other clubs. He's learning as well as the players. It's got to take time. To say we're fifth now and going into March, I think it's bloody amazing compared to what I thought we'd be. Compared, Dave and Dermot, this time last year, almost this week last year, we were heading over to the AC Milan game. And need I say any more?
Don't remind me. Don't remind me. Don't remind me. I tell you, apart from the match, I had the best 4 days of my life, like with Dave and Jack, and I have to admit, the Monday we come over, I had one of the biggest meltdowns because of my autism, because of my ADHD. I've never been rarely away in England for a long time. I'm so gory. It's like gory, so small. And Dave and Philip know Irish towns and cities. They're not big, are they? Apart if you go to Dublin or Cork or Waterford. But
where I'm living is not big anyway.
I wasn't used to the big. I've got so unused. When I went over to England that Monday, it was like I wanted to go back to England. It didn't even want to get onto the plane. And then Dave said, "You're effing better get onto the plane. You booked your rooms." And I went, "Oh yeah." But apart from that little wobble on the Monday, I had the best 4 days of my life for Jack and Dave. Really enjoyed it. Paul Jack had to move because of my snoring. We could hear Dave in the sitting room as well.
Right. Remind me to hold that against him later on, will you?
Yeah. Then I woke up, went to bed with Jack next to me. Next thing he's in the hallway, thinking, "Why are you in there?" "You're snoring." I went, "Oh, okay. I feel really bad now."
Oh, lovely.
Woke up with the worst hangover, and the one day we went out for a drink with. Do you remember we went to King's Cross? Ellie, you, me, Jack.
Yeah, Chris.
I woke up with the worst hangover the next morning ever. It was like, but
you got to stick to the Coca-Cola, Dermo.
Yeah, I will. I will for the AC Milan game for definite. But the Arsenal game. But look, if you look at the season as a whole, I think it's been a great season. I really do think it's been a brilliant season. I think it's been full of optimism, full of excitement, full of joy, full of happiness. Okay, we've had our downs and we've had our frustrations and we've had our moans. But I think if we look back at the 23-24 season as a whole, back at the back end of May, I think we'll look around and think, do you know what? It's been a good season. We're back in Europe. We're back to where we belong. And we're growing as a club. And Ange will get us there.
Yeah.
Ange will win us a trophy. We've got to get behind this man. We've got to get like Liverpool got behind Klopp, like Man United got behind Ferguson when he did win the trophy, like how Man City fans get behind Guardiola. Like them lot down the road get behind Lego Man when they do put them together. I mean, his wife takes him an hour and a half to put them together every morning and every year.
Just to get into his jeans.
Just to get into his jeans. I mean, she's got a big box in the bedroom full of Lego, and she's there in the morning trying to put them together. You don't know. We've got to get behind something. So let's get behind this.
Look, the reality is, right, we're not Man City, we're not Newcastle. We don't have owners that can come in here and say, there's 400 or 500 million off, you go build a team. And you look at Chelsea, is that going to guarantee you success anyway? No.
Nope.
Yeah.
You look back at over the last few years, you look back at some of the greatest managers who wins things. They've been given time to build something.
Yeah.
Now, and that's what we have to do. People calling for Ange, even in questioning Ange right now. I get it, right? It's football. You're entitled to question Ange.
Yeah.
But where does it lead to? Where did it lead when people started questioning Conte and Jose and stuff like that? Ultimately led to their sack. Is sacking another manager the right thing to do? No, it's not.
No.
You know, every manager that walks in here, Ange Postecoglou, when he had his signings and the team he wanted to put out there the first 10 games of the season before it all unraveled against Chelsea, we were absolutely balling out. Since he's had to rely on the likes of Skip, Højbjerg, Davies, people like that who were here long before he arrived here, not his players, knows they're not handball players. They don't have the mobility he needs. Things fell off a cliff, and now all of a sudden we're asking questions of Ange. Stop asking questions of Ange and go after the real problem. We've chopped and changed managers. It hasn't changed anything. Jose Mourinho came in here. We were top of the league at one stage. Conte came in here. Top of the league at one stage, got off to a very similar start the way Ange did. But when they started carrying injuries and stuff like that, we couldn't cope. Everything fell off. The problem is with Tottenham Hotspur, we do not have a squad capable or built to challenge in all 4 cup competitions. And nor does any manager want to fill it out with young players either. So at some point, if that's not going to be the way it's going to be, you're going to have to show patience whether you like it or not. I don't like asking Spurs fans for patience. I think it's very hypocritical. They support their team, win, lose, or draw, and no matter the barren run that they go on. However, knee-jerking because you don't like the result and stuff like that and asking for a manager to leave and all that is not the solution. Doubling down on it, looking at what Ange has brought, saying, yes, it's, you know, that's the style of football we want to play. That's what everyone was asking last season. The way he handles himself in the press conference, the way he handles the players. It's exactly what everyone was asking for when they wanted Conte out the door. So you got it. Now just give it patience.
Yeah. I think what he's done is not only is he revolutionized the style of play that we're doing, he's revolutionizing the club from within.
Yeah.
And I think it'll take time for that to come to the fore. Now, he's already put great emphasis on the academy, and we can see the results of that. Look at the under-21s, 10 wins out of 11 and a draw for the other match. Yeah. The under-18s, unfortunately, to be knocked out of the cup by City last week. So the whole club is benefiting from Ange's experience with other clubs. And it'll just take a while for that to really sink into a lot of people. But look at the style of football. That's the main thing. We were watching them last season, nearly falling asleep with boredom. Never get bored during a Tottenham match this season, that's for sure.
No. And you look at like Keith here, Edwards now, and this is about the negativity around people around Ange and that. And he says, I'm sad for Keith. I feel sorry for him. He's had to do this. But he says, I've stopped watching a couple of channels because of negativity comments all the time about us and Ange. When's this ever going to stop? Because Dave is spot on. We had to, but the one thing I do disagree with you, Dave, on one point is I think we've got a better squad now, or a better squad now than we did under Jose and Conte. We've got rid of
wholeheartedly.
We've got rid of the likes of Eric Dyer behind you. We've got we've got rid of the players that needed to go, and there's more to go. Let's not be stupid about this. There is more hard work to be done.
There is.
And you look at managers, guys. You look at Brian Clough, Bill Shankly. You go managers through the years. They're a given time. They're given time to get things right. Then success follows. And what do you want to say to Keith Phillip? I mean, I'm sorry he's had to do that, but do you understand why he's doing it?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. I can totally understand, because I think there are some fans now, I'm not going to name anybody, obviously, but there are fans. If we did a clean sweep of the trophies, they still find something to moan about. It's just an inbuilt thing with some people. They're never happy. So, not much you can do about that. But I think what we have to do is try and persuade people to be more positive, to be, look on the bright side, not on the dark side. Because, there's even a thing about, I look at the kit they're playing in this, is all white. White radiates hope and, purity and everything. And I think that was a nice move to move us into an all white kit. And I'd say Andy's behind that.
And also they use DAS because white does become whiter when they wash the kit.
All right, okay.
Now, under that, Philip, do you want to give our official partner a bit?
This is. I just can't wait for Dermot to get the bathwater.
Yeah,
but as you can see Dave, there, our channel partner is drinkrace.com, and if you put your first order in using the code THFCTID, scan the QR code, you'll get 10% off your first order. Dermot is coming shortly. In fact, I think he's been summoned down to the post office to collect it.
I've been summoned to pay €5.17 for somebody's bath water.
You're paying money for the bath water. You're probably paying for the soap.
I just hope they weren't dirty when they went into it, Philip. That's what I'm hoping.
That's the thing. That's and we're going to have a live inaugural drink of it live on TV some of these days now once it arrives. But get down there, try it out. They've got a great range of products other than energy drinks. They've got beanies, they've got T-shirts, they've got sweatshirts, everything, And we're just dying to know what this bathwater tastes like.
And look, Dave's gone. Dave's gone to get some race.
He's gone off to get some bathwater.
He's gone to get some bathwater. He's telling Mrs. Hotspur, Dermatron's getting some bathwater. See what it's like. I'm not looking forward to that, Dave. Now that stream can go two ways. Either me getting it's lovely, or me with a bucket next to me chucking my guts off. One or the other.
Yeah. Anyway,
look, we just go through some of the chat. We're waiting for the fallen angel to come back. Daniel says, well addressed about the academy, Philip, by the way. Yeah.
Yeah, well, the academy is something that is the future. The clubs are going to rely on academies more and more as FFP kicks in. You can't afford to pay 50 million from a player homegrown.
Yeah. The real N7 Yid. See, he's back telling Mrs. Irish Hotspur about the bathwater. Look, he's so excited. He's going to get some himself. I don't know what to do, Dave, to come up with this idea of bathwater. I mean, I'm not looking forward to it. I'm just really not. But big up to Wraith for sponsoring the channel.
I've been worried about we've been bathing in it, to be honest.
Yeah. Sponsored this fella's channel down here as well, the Irish Hotspur. They deserve it, don't they, Philip? They deserve it.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely.
So if you're watching, send a link to that man as well, because he deserves it. Him and Jack do great stuff. It's quite funny, Philip. The real N17 Yid, says Lewis. It's quite funny. We have a go at the players, but if you've been to the lane, the fans are quite poor themselves.
I thought the atmosphere was an awful lot better this season, though.
When I went to the Brighton game, it was noisy. It was good. I went to mind you, I had Ollie next to me trying to jump into the Brighton end at one point. But it was noisy. What do you think, Dave? I don't get that comment.
Do you know what it is? I hear mixed things, I do hear some people giving out about the atmosphere at games and stuff like that. But look, I can only go off what I see off my chat because of where I live. I can't get to every game, and I presume it's the same. People are turning up to games now, seeing the team sheet, and already deflated because certain individuals are on the team sheet. They're sick of it. They've watched them for years. They know exactly what's going to happen when they play. And 9 times out of 10, they're proven right, And I think, the first 10 games, from my understanding, the place was absolutely buzzing, rocking. Since the squad players have come in, the atmosphere has died down from where it first was. But that's because the results have taken a dip. The performances have taken a dip. And a lot of people are saying, we're looking at what we're no better than what we were last season. And for me, I think that's the root cause of it. I had people as soon as Ben Davies on the Wolves game. Look, guys, my opinion on Ben Davies. Yeah. I had people in the chat going, we're going to lose this game just purely because, we're going to get roasted down his side. And ultimately, he ended up being right. Ben Davies was a no-show, won 50% of his air drills, didn't complete any of his crosses whatsoever either, and people are just fed up with it. They already know what to expect when they see certain team sheets. So that's probably has a lot to do with it.
What do you reckon of it, Philip? Look, we've all been to Tottenham, you three of us, and went to the AC Milan game where the fans gave it all and the team gave nothing. I've seen them at Brighton. I thought the atmosphere was brilliant at Brighton, where we sat. And Ben Davies made mistake after mistake. That's the first time. And when I said to Dave that I said to you on your show, and the comment I made was, I saw more of the game than you can see on TV. Now, why I said that was I was able to watch just Ben Davies by himself, what he does. Where on TV is following the ball around, and I had an opportunity. He is woeful. Out of position, he is woeful. And I never realized how bad he was. Out of positioning and picking up players. And the ones that never shut up is Vicario, Van der Ven, and Romero. They never shut up. All during the match, they're shouting, come back, mark him, mark him. The Vicario doesn't stop talking for the whole match. And mostly Romero shouting at Ben Davies, come back, mark him, don't let him go, don't let him go. Poor old Porro's limping on the other side, and Ben Davies letting people. So I can understand why people have a go at Ben Davies. I think you're a little bit different, aren't you, Philip? You see it in a different perspective.
I see him as a squad player. Like, I see him as a player who doesn't get playing if Porro and Udoji's fit, right? But if they're not fit, he's probably the best we've got in that position. Sessegnon's out injured again. We can't use him. So, I take your point about him. And I don't like to see Ben Davies in the starting 11, but if he's there, I think you're right, Dave, though. If fans come into the stadium and they see the starting 11, you can nearly hear the groan going up when you see certain players, which is a pity. Now, I think I've no doubt we would have won that Wolves game if we'd had Porro and Udoji playing, because they are integral to the way we play. And Davies and Royale were not able to play that way, and that's why we lost it. Right. Where were we? The atmosphere, I think, tends to get a bit quiet when we're behind. Like, I always remember, Dermot, the game you were at, the Brighton game, we just equalised, right? When Sonny came on. What's the first thing Sonny does?
Yeah.
To get the crowd up. He could sense the crowd wasn't up for it. Now, that crowd should be on their toes the whole time. They should know the team responds to a noisy crowd. And if the players shouldn't have to encourage them to do it. So, crowd, get behind the team. Like, we've got a tough game against Palace on Saturday. They have a new manager bounce. It's not going to be as easy as it might have been under Roy Hodgson. But I think we should win it. But the crowd needs to help.
Just to go quickly here, guys, and then we are going to talk about the Scottish League. Is it a Farmers League? Because, guys, we have been, Ange is from Scotland. He's managed Celtic. And we're all Celtic fans, three of us. No, they're our second team, and we've dipped in and out. I refuse to watch Celtic because Brendan Rodgers is the most boring manager going. You could, if you had a baby, right, teething problems, and she wouldn't settle, or he wouldn't settle, stick him in front of a TV with Celtic playing these days. He'd be asleep within 5 minutes.
Not last night.
What happened last night?
They won 7-1.
That was just a once in a lifetime achievement from. But normally, you could put a baby in front of the TV and the baby will fall asleep. So give us a minute. We'll just go through the chat. Wayne Bonner says, do they do Jack Daniels flavour? I think they do. I think they do.
You add the Jack Daniels to it.
Yeah, to the bath water. I can't believe I'm
a Jack Daniels and bath water, please. Sounds like a new drink down the pub, doesn't it?
Yeah. They've been making it when he finishes this. He would go, right, give us some of that bath water, stick some Jack D into it. Yeah, he'd be selling it round the corner. It's the new Putching. He says, Dave has said it before. The whole Spurs system has changed from recruitment, academy scouting, and our system of play. It's been a long time coming. Very quickly on this, it's that article you read, Dave, that I read as well, and put it into the group chat, and I think you read it as well, Philip. He's been sort of likened to Alex Ferguson, what he did at Old Trafford. Just very question is, how happy are you to hear that? Dave, you go first on that.
Yeah, Philip, you go first.
No, I mean, yeah. Listen, I mean, if you can liken a guy to Alex Ferguson, who, like it or lump it, I regard him as the best manager of the Premiership era by a country mile. What he did with Man United. If Ange gets anywhere close to the success that guy has, I'm up for that. But it's the right idea. As I said earlier, there, like the academies have to be made more use of now with FFP rearing its head and not allowing teams to buy like they used to without getting into trouble. So the FFP thing is going to cause the academies, going to benefit the academies. And Ange has seen the benefit of the Tottenham Academy. And Simon Davis, the guy who's in charge of it, has already commented on how good Ange is with the academy. Whereas Conte and Mourinho probably didn't even know we had one.
Well, Conte just used to bring them up as training cones, didn't he? In a world where you've got, you could buy a whole wall together if you want to for people to take free kicks around. And he brings up the underage. But you know what, Keith? It's nice to know that, someone listens to what I have to say from time to time and genuinely takes it on board. That's the big difference. So big up, Keith. Look, Andrew's come in. He's done a wonderful job in terms of the management reinvigorating not only the players, but the staff and everyone else behind the scene. Everyone else seems really motivated. But Paratici is the one that's brought in a lot of the structural changes behind the scene. He's the one that's got, Daniel Levy seen it one way. Whereas if it didn't make financial sense, he didn't want to do it at all. Whereas Paratici has come in and said, look, it may not make financial sense in a short-term figure, but long-term, it makes financial sense. Do it. And he's got Daniel Levy to understand maybe the finances involved around football, short-term pain for long-term gain, that sort of stuff. A lot of it has been because of Paratici. He's the one that got all the golden generation when they had offers to go elsewhere to sign on the dotted line. Him and Greta Steinson, I think, who's left since. They were absolutely pivotal in it. It was Paratici that got Daniel Levy to realize the benefits of the academy. Before, we had players that were not being paid great, but they were never ever going to make the grade anyway. We were just filling quotas. He actually got Daniel Levy to understand the benefit of producing players out there, not just one, hoping that he's going to be Champions League, but a number of players, bringing in players from other academies to really strengthen that core. He's been behind a lot of it.
Yeah, he has. And I'm absolutely delighted. I mean, look, I'm a big fan of bringing on the kids, using them, bringing them in. What go into this podcast, Philip, we'll do next week. We'll give you a week to prepare your arguments, but,
I've already got mine prepared.
I know you have. Yeah, I mean, Dave's like the Premier League. Me and Dave over here, we're in championships trying to get promotion. So we're getting there. But look, use the kids. Bring on the kids. That's what I say. Don't leave them there. Use them. They've got no fear. Look what they did against Chelsea, the Liverpool kids. Totally beat. I would love to know the valuation of the teams that are on in that extra time, what the valuation of the Chelsea side was and what the valuation of the Liverpool side was. We all know Chelsea was a bit younger. But really and truly, just very quickly, Chelsea should have won that. There was Liverpool did not deserve to win that League Cup. And the one player who did it was the kids and Van Dijk. He drove them kids to that League Cup win. And if we can have that at Tottenham, get a few kids in there with a few experienced heads in there, we are going to go places. We're going to be dominant for the next 5-6 years under Ange. It will happen. I'm so confident it's going to happen. Listen to Prophetron. If you listen to him, you won't go wrong. Anyway, let's go on. We've got one here from Spurs CGTV. Says, just my opinion. Is it okay to be disappointed inside if you're not happy with the team sheet? Yeah. I think it is. Dave's nodding his head. Yeah. Philip is sort of looking like a TD, thinking, do I vote for this or not? But, sorry, Philip, I didn't mean to compare you to a TD sitting in the door.
Thanks.
That's okay. Who you voting for? I get that.
I do think it's a fair comment. Yeah, many people say to me, especially when Harry Winks was in the midfield, oh, Dave, just get behind the guy. But I couldn't. What was the point of me sitting there happy clapping the guy when I knew we was going to go out and do nothing that was going to, change my opinion of him? I completely agree with that. You can't fake the optimism and stuff like that. In anything, I think sure Spurs or someone in around recruitment department really needs to maybe pick up on that. And okay, Spurs fans are fed up with these guys now. Let's not let it get to a Davinson Sanchez situation where the whole stadium's booing them. Let's get them out and rejuvenate it. That's what I think should happen off the back of it. I think fans are well entitled to show their discontent with any club, any owner, any player.
Yeah, exactly. And Philip, I'm a bit delusional. You know that. I'm a bit away in the clouds.
A bit?
Glad you said it.
Well, I admit myself I'm a bit out there, but and not a lot gets me down about Tottenham, but when it does, I do rant. You're the same, Philip. You're very much. You're one of these fans. If you're not happy, you would tell people they're not happy.
Oh yeah.
I mean, if we lose a game, Philip will go off, won't you, within 2 minutes? But
I won't stay. No, I'm gone. I want to go and kick the
Philip,
cat if I
keep
had
saying
one.
that 10 minutes, you're still there on the screen with me. I'm going.
Yeah, well.
It's so fun. But do you get that? Spurs GCTV is right what he's saying. It's a fair comment to make, isn't it?
It is, yeah. It is.
Yeah.
But just to go back to your Harry Winks comment there, David, he's tearing it up for Leicester. They love him at Leicester. He found his level.
Where are they though? Championship.
That's
the level I always said he would be.
Yeah, he's found his level.
Yeah. The real N7 Lewis says Scotland, Wales, and Ireland have not got quality of players that they had in the 70s.
No.
70s and 80s.
The Irish League was buzzing.
Yeah,
the
it
Irish
was.
League itself was buzzing.
I mean, a bit before Dave's time, before he was a twinkle in his dad's eye, and before I was a twinkle in my dad's eye, the man below us was there.
Yeah,
saying, what was it like in the 70s, Philip? Was there a big
buzz
buzz around?
I really have no recollection of the Irish League or the League of Ireland in the 70s. I kind of came on it mid-80s when Jack Charlton came up. That's what really got me going on it, you know. And from 1985, 86 up to about 94, that was the golden era.
Yeah, it was.
I missed that. I hope it wasn't too derogatory.
I'd say the glory hunter. That's what I called you.
No, it wasn't that. It wasn't that. It was just other things. Jesus, young kids and everything. I hardly had time to watch football at all. So it was the Charlton era that got me back into it, and that will never be repeated unless you bring in a clone of Jack Charlton.
He was about to be sacked. Nobody knows this, but he was about to be sacked after that first campaign. And if it wasn't for Scotland beating Bulgaria, that kept him in the job.
Gary Mackay, you have a lot to be thankful for.
Yeah. I mean, Dave, you look, we all love Tottenham and we can remember the great times for Spurs, but the Irish team in the 80s and 90s and Mick McCarthy's the Battle of Sepang. And it was a good time to be an Irish fan, wasn't it? You going there with your dad when you were small, the Lansdowne Road. My dad taking me to Lansdowne Road as well back in the day, getting a day off school to go down to watch the games. And, you know, it was a great time, wasn't it? It was how we wanted it always to be.
It's because we were competitive, you know. Yeah. I remember, you know, that qualification campaign to the 2002 World Cup.
Yeah.
We went and got what was it? We beat Holland away, you know, or beat Holland. Yeah. You know, we got results off Portugal. You know, we always stood up, no matter the bigger the team, the better we were. The last, you know, and I don't blame Trapattoni for this either, but, you know, since his era, we haven't competed. We don't know how to compete either. And that's why there's so little interest in the international setup over here. Why would fans look, I think, you know, we're probably muggy in a way because we're so passionate about it, but other people are looking at it going, boys, why do you bother? The people in charge don't bother. They don't care. You know, so why are you caring? A lot of people have sort of walked away from it. You know, and the biggest thing is they built the stadium off the back of the success of the Jack Charlton era, the Mick McCarthy era, etc., right, to bring more fans in. But all it's done is just left one big empty shell. Sometimes they could put tickets up for 20 quid and they still can't sell it out. Yeah. You know, everything's wrong with Irish football. It's just a joke. I'd love nothing better to get back to be competing, you know, and you know, beating the little teams the way you should be, and then going up against the big dogs and giving it your all. I'd love nothing better to get back to that, but unfortunately, I'm not deluded. We're so far off it.
I just blame Stephen Kenny for everything. It's all his fault. It's all his fault. And I told these two lads within 5 minutes of the Ukraine game, I wanted Stephen Kenny out, and I stood by that for this whole reign. You know, I was even getting T-shirts and everything printed. I want Kenny out. Protests or everything were planned. You know,
actually, you should have bought. I'd say you could have bought some off a Fine Gael supporter. There's probably some T-shirts going back to the time they wanted rid of Enda Kenny. You know,
yeah.
Save yourself a few bob.
Just quickly as well. You know, the old famous chant. You know, used to ring around all the time. You'll never beat the Irish. You know, and that was off the back of, you know, how much we used to punch above our weight. Let's be brutally honest. When was the last time any of us have heard that at the Aviva? I haven't.
I
Yeah,
haven't
no, that's
actually,
true,
to be
that's
fair.
true.
And we've all gone there a bit now. The three of us together, or you, me, Dave. You know, we've all gone there. And we've got England coming up now. Though England have never beaten us competitively for 33 years. You know, 33 years. They've never beaten us in the World Cup.
They'll fancy
They've
the
never-
chances this time.
Yeah, well, one thing they couldn't. They've never beaten us in the Euros, and they've never beaten us in the World Cup.
Yeah, that was
Never
under the
beaten
Jack
us in-
Charlton era, though. You
I
know,
know,
last
but
time
the
we played
point
them in a
is-
friendly, they absolutely spanked us.
But forget the friendly. This is it. This is what it means. You need to tell them players, this is a record previous teams have kept. This is a record that managers, players have kept going for 33 years. We cannot let the likes of Jack Charlton, Mick McCarthy, Martin O'Neill, Gary Trapattoni, we can't let John Aldridge, Paul McGrath, all them players, Packy Bonner, Chrissy Houghton, all them players that sweated blood, tears, and everything for the Irish team. We cannot lose that on the 7th of September.
It's already gone.
Yeah, pardon?
It's gone. We're going to get mopped.
And I don't think so, Dave. Look, I'm being optimistic. This is my Irishness coming out of me. I think we can do something there. I really do. And if not, I'll be sending Philip down the next day with a big poster with "I want whoever's manager out straight away." Philip doesn't look too excited about that. Anyway, big up to Geordie. He says, "How away the lads?" Big up, Geordie. See, you got a nice little test for the FA Cup. Man City away.
Then what was that post? That post there about the Spurs winning at the awards. That's on tonight, isn't it?
Yeah, Spurs are winning at the old London Football Awards. First, the best manager in the league, and Noel, the best keeper in the league.
And now I hope it's now the best keeper.
Yeah,
very good.
Big up. Lucky to beat Blackburn, by the way. Blackburn should have beaten you, but congratulations. Big up to David Shear as well. Morning, Cobbers.
Hi, David.
Morning. Big up,
David.
He says, my 3 favourite leprechauns. Yeah. well, 2.5. 2.5 leprechauns. I haven't found my pot of gold yet. These two have. Anyway, Real says Liam Brady, Frank Stapleton, and Georgie Best.
Well, Georgie Best was the other side of the border, but take your point.
Yeah, we won't talk a lot about the. Did you ever hear the story about Jack Charlton and the Northern Ireland fans asking for the cigarette?
Oh, yeah.
Do you know that? Do you ever hear that story?
Yeah.
It's the funniest story on this. Jack Charlton was brilliant. I loved him. Absolutely loved him.
Have you heard the story of them in the USA when they're lining up for a game and they spot a topless woman in the stand and they're, I think McAteer was saying that on a podcast that I was listening to the other day. And basically, it started at the front of the line and was being passed it way down. And, I think it was John Aldridge that said it to him, bro, whatever. Yeah. And they were all like looking at this woman. And then all of a sudden, he was like, pass it on. He looked round. It was Roy Keane. So he just said, he turned around and says, come on, Roy, keep it tight. Good game. Could you imagine having to turn around and pass that on to Roy Keane? He'd struggle you before the game even turned.
I remember the 94 World Cup. And there was Jack Charlton throwing the water onto the pitch, right, when they were in Florida playing Mexico. Somebody put in the paper the next day, when I was living in the UK at the time, Jack Charlton gets a job at the water board. Because at that time, all the water board, there was leagues everywhere. It was so funny.
But the two biggest things, amongst all the great stories, McAteer spoke about how much of amateur the setup, behind the World Cup was in America, from the Ireland side in terms of preparation and stuff. And Roy Keane spoke about it from Saipan. So, over a 10-year gap there, it hasn't changed, and it probably still hasn't changed.
No, it won't. Now, guys, we're a bit of Celtic fans on here. Of course, the Celtics, the Irish, and we always like to follow the Celts over in Scotland and, see them beat the mighty Rangers, which they probably won't this year. Bobby, if you're watching, we're going to win the league. But look, Andrew's got a lot of stick because he's come from the Japanese league, the Australian league, and then the Scottish league into the Premier League. And everyone's saying, well, any Rangers and Celtic win the league up there. Now, I have my own sort of thoughts on that, Dave, and I've said it in your show that people need to watch the Scottish League to realise it's not the best league in the world, but it is a competitive league. You have to beat what's in front of you. They don't just give the trophies at the start of the season to Rangers and Celtic. Let's take the names out of a hat. And I think what Ange did up at Celtic was remarkable. They were the best I've seen Celtic play in years. Fast, expansive football. Dominated the whole league up there. So, is it a farmers league? I don't think it is a farmers league, but I think that league should get more respect than it deserves, in my opinion.
There's one statistic that damns, that knocks your, puts the thing about it being a farmers league, it agrees with it being a farmers league is next season, right? The 2024-25 season will mark the 40th anniversary, right? 40 years since any other club but Celtic and Rangers won the title. Now, that makes it sound like a farmers league with two teams winning it every year.
Look,
you know,
I've sort of fallen on Philip's side of the argument here. Personally, I do think it's a farmers league. I think it's a glorified League of Ireland. I think Rangers and Celtic carry that league. And let's not forget, there was a time they didn't even want to be in it. They were pushing to get into English football. You know, outside of Celtic and Rangers, it is a complete farmers league. However, I was listening to you on the fan show the other day, Dermot. I think the point you were trying to make was just, okay, it's a farmers league, but has anyone seen a Celtic manager come in and dominate, the league and play the football that he did with Celtic ever? I haven't. I think the last time was under Martin O'Neill when they used to have Henrik Larsson and stuff when they played good football like that. Brendan Rodgers has gone back there, and since then the fall off has been absolutely astronomical. You listen to Celtic fans, they're going absolutely ballistic. They don't want him. They don't like him. They're moaning about how much of a drop off it is. They're constantly talking about Furuhashi, how he was playing under Postecoglou compared to what Brendan Rodgers is getting out of him. And I think the point, stands in a way that, like, he's not just an ordinary guy that's gone in there and won, the trophies. He's gone in there and done it in style and dominated. There's a massive difference.
I think the problem is you've got Aberdeen were the last team to win it, by the way, under Alex Ferguson, and that's how he got the gig at Manchester United on the strength of what he did at Aberdeen. I try and watch the game on the Sunday when it's on, and you're looking at maybe Hearts, maybe Aberdeen, possibly Hibs, and they're the only team. It's like a mini league between the three of them to see who finishes third or fourth. And that's really what the interest is, because it's going to be Celtic and Rangers are going to win it. Now, this season, I'm horrified to say Rangers will win the league because they are a much better team than Celtic at the moment. And that's that's down to Brendan Rodgers, whatever the hell he's done to them. The old adage is you should never go back. He should never have gone back. Celtic fans won't accept him.
But you look at the Scottish League, it's not really best funded, is it, to be fair? It's very badly funded as a league. And as you said,
they get great crowds when Celtic and Rangers come to town, but that's about it.
Look, is it down to the teams themselves to try to beat these Rangers and Celtic? Is it down to them to say, right, we have to take it upon ourselves to give it our best shot?
They haven't got the resources.
That's the problem.
And they don't, it's not like, any club that comes calling for one of their players, they're never going to turn it down and say, no, I'm going to stick here and build something, are they? They're gone. So they never have the chance to build anything to be able to compete.
It's sad.
And if they ain't going to England, they're going to Celtic and Rangers. So
but this is where I think Ange gets the disrespect because of what he's done. Arsene Wenger, he managed in Japan. I know he managed with Monaco in France, but he managed with Gampasé in Japan, came to Arsenal, revolutionized what Arsenal were doing at the time, and they dominated the Premier League for a certain amount of years. I think Ange is doing exactly the same at Tottenham, what Arsene Wenger did at Arsenal all them years ago.
What I don't like is I do think there's an unfair narrative surrounding what Ange done at Celtic. And what I mean by that, people go, Celtic manager is expected to win everything.
Yeah.
Okay, to a certain degree. But let's not forget, Rangers toppled Celtic the year before, and they'd done it very well. Their recruitment was a lot better. Ange Postecoglou walked into Celtic on a shoestring budget compared to what other managers have had to spend. And he pulled players. He pulled the right back Johnston in from, I think it was Canada. Look what he turned him into. He pulled Matt O'Reilly from the lower leagues in English football. Look what he turned him into. He pulled Furuhashi, and a couple of the other Japanese guys. So it's the manner in which he done it. Celtic, that squad of Scott Brown and all the old heads. That was finished. You know, he had to completely rebuild it, and he did do that, and he done it very, very quickly.
Yeah. And he's doing it at Tottenham the same way, and we're seeing the same results. Okay, the results haven't been great, but we are seeing the shoots of what he's trying to build at Tottenham. And he's doing the same thing on a slightly larger budget, but he is doing the same thing at Tottenham. And look, I just think people need to respect Ange Postecoglou. I need to give him time. We're too, as Dave said earlier, we're too quick to we want the manager sacked. We're too quick. It's not the players, it's the managers. Well, I'm sorry. It was the players under Conte. It was the players that got Poch, Conte, Mourinho. Well, the Garden Gnome got himself sacked because he was just a Garden Gnome.
Dermot, you can't sack a player. That's the problem. You can sack a manager.
I know, Dave.
You cannot sack a player.
True. No, I know. And it's not fair because it is the players' fault. And all of us on all our channels have been saying this for years. You've been saying it, Dave, for God, since I first found you. It's the players. Philip, you've seen a lot more Tottenham than me and Dave. And you know that it is the players. Managers can't control everything.
No.
I mean, look. But look, I want to go into something. We saw a picture tonight of a very tall Saudi, man from the Middle East. He looked like a Bond villain. I mean,
yeah.
I mean, it's a bit like Little and Large. And if everyone doesn't remember who Little and Large were, back when I was a wee kid, Dermatron was a wee in short pants and T-shirts running around saying, I'm good, look at me. And everyone said, just go away, just leave me alone. There was a comedy duo called Little and Large, and they were brilliant. Now, this is Philip's favourite subject, the Saudis. Philip, are they trying to buy up the Premiership? And this has been the last sort of subject on this podcast, by the way.
I don't know about the Premiership. They're trying to buy up sport in general, I think.
Yeah.
Between golf and the football. They're trying that all right. Now, okay, they own Newcastle. The Sheffield United owner is from Saudi Arabia as well, but I think he's one of the poorer relations of the Saudis because he doesn't have much money. I think they're maybe trying to buy influence as well as they can't buy that. They can't. The Saudi investment fund, is that what they call them? SIF can only own one club at a time, so they can't buy any more in the Premiership. But I think what they're trying to do is influence the thing. They're trying to certainly influence UEFA to get the Saudi clubs into the Champions League, which they probably will in due course, and they're offering huge money for the players to go out. Mo Salah now is going to be on the next list. Kevin De Bruyne looks like they're going to go after him,
Sonny as well.
Sonny possibly as well. So they're trying to do a bit of both, influence things in the Premiership, but also to enhance their own league by buying the best the Premiership has to offer.
Yeah.
And
Sorry, Philip. Sorry, go on. I interrupted you. Sorry.
Go on.
You look at all the leagues right around Europe. You look at the Premier League. Well, that's Premier League's on its own. But you look at the German league, the Bundesliga, the French league, the Serie A, that Liga. They're not getting much attention from the Saudi Pro League. It's all the Premier League. So why is that? Why is the Premier League getting all the attention? Where there's probably good talent in Europe, but it's the Premier League they're looking at. Jordan Henderson went to Saudi Arabia and lasted 6 months. You got Neymar that wants to come back. All the players that went over there last summer now want to come back. So why is that?
Dave, you want to go on that one?
No, it's because the infrastructure and the setup isn't what they were promised going out there. Look, at the end of the day, let's be brutally honest. A lot of players, especially some of the younger players that did go out there first, they signed on because it's generational wealth. What they're being paid out there will last their kids. So I don't. You can understand it if you come from sort of a poorer background and stuff like that, but. Look, let's be honest. The infrastructure of the league just isn't there. They tried to jump before they could. They tried to run before they could walk. A lot of people have got out there and be like, "Whoa, this isn't what was promised." But But look, they also struggle to get some of the, the stars in their prime. A lot of the players that have signed are, older players that are coming towards the end of their career that are being offered money that they were never going to be offered. Usually when you reach 30, your wage starts reducing a little bit, so they were always going to take that money. Well, I'm not really too worried about Saudi, to be brutally honest. I hope Levy was meeting with your man to try and get a 50 million deal for Ben fucking Davies. That would be ideal for me. He's at the right age bracket. He's on 75k a week. He'd definitely head out there for money. Look, I'm not really too worried about it. It's one of them. It's going to collapse. It's going to be very similar to the Chinese league.
What do you reckon, Philip? Do you fancy a trip out to Saudi Arabia? Do you know?
No, I wouldn't go there if you paid me, to be honest with you. You know my feelings on the Saudis.
Yeah, I know, yeah. Big up to
I'm
David.
just looking at that. Sorry, go on there.
Do you want to say this one, Philip? He's gifted it to Carl Simpson, by the way.
Okay. Good man, Carl. Good man, David. Thanks a million for that. Yeah, much appreciated. Now, the thing about Saudi, right, where am I? Yeah, I'm jumping to that photograph of the basketball players talking to Levy. That is just it's a city in the United Arab Emirates he comes from. It's not even a country. It's 41,000 people living there. So unless he's got a few billion stuck in his bank account and he wants to take over the Spurs, I'd say it's just a courtesy call. He just called in to have a look around. Yeah. I don't think anything else going to come out of that.
How would you feel about a Middle Eastern takeover, guys, at Tottenham? How would that make you feel?
Saudi would upset me a lot. Qatar would upset me a lot. Dubai or Arab Emirates, not quite so much, although I don't know why. I just think they're a bit more legit than the other two guys, And this crowd, whoever they are, no, I doubt it. But there's been so many rumors, so many this, that, nothing's ever come of any of them. So I don't think Levy's going anywhere anytime soon.
No, but how would you feel if we were to?
How would I feel? Listen, I'd still be supporting them. What I feel is immaterial. I think I'd probably secretly saying, I hope these guys put a couple of billion into the club and we walk away with trophies galore for the next few years. But on a what's the word I'm looking for? On a religious, but on a personal base, I wouldn't be that happy. But deep down, I would be. Yeah. If that sounds hypocritical, but you know where I'm coming from.
Yeah. Dave, how would you feel? Would you be like Philip a bit 50-50?
Look, to be honest with you, it's never going to happen anyway. They're never very, very. Look, the thing is, I don't think anyone's going to buy Tottenham Hotspur. Usually, when people go and buy a football club, it's a football club that they can get at a cheap price that they can build up, right, and take an astronomical profit whenever they decide to sell up. They ain't buying Tottenham for a cheap price. They're buying Tottenham. They have to buy the stadium. They have to buy all the other diverse revenue streams that come with it. So it's going to cost them, upwards of probably 3 billion euros anyway, or whatever it is, pounds. So that doesn't leave them much money then to go and throw £100 million at a player here, there, and everywhere because of what they've already invested. So, it's never going to happen. It's just not going to happen.
I don't think it's going to happen, but it's a nice pipe dream that we can have an owner come in and spend billion and walk away doing Man City. But you look at Newcastle. They haven't been spending the cash, by the way, because of FFP. Yeah. You look at Man City.
Once they're out of FFP, you watch.
Probably.
That's true.
You look at Man City.
The Saudi investment fund has 60 billion to invest whenever they get round to it. Yeah. So that's eye-watering stuff,
Man City have cheated their way to all their trophies, and we all know that.
Yeah.
Look, I love the Premier League. I love it as an exciting football league. It's the best league in Europe. It's the best league in the world. Very quickly on the European League and the Super League that might happen, and the expansion of the Champions League. Do you think this Super League will never go away, guys? Do you think it's always going to be there? I think it's the biggest load of nonsense I've ever heard in my life. And I think it's the big clubs wanting more money, and they've got what they wanted in the expanding Champions League. What is your views on the new Champions League? I think it's a disgrace. I think it should never have happened. Go back to how it was in the old days. European Cup, champions, you go into it, home and away, win, lose, that's it. I'll go to you last, Philip, because you've got you've seen a lot, and I love tapping into your knowledge. Dave, Are you like me? Are you just fed up with the Champions League? When we're in it, it's great. But next season, have they gone a step too far?
Look, I think their biggest mistake was taking away the away-goal rule out of the especially the sort of knockout games and stuff.
Yeah.
I think it's absolutely killed it. You look at teams now; they barely try a leg in the first leg; they're all waiting for the second leg. So, they've killed it in that regard. But look, to be honest with you, the changes they made to Champions League next season, I have no problem with it whatsoever. I'm excited for it. It's all going to be one big league format. The top, I think, 8 automatically go through, and then up to a certain cut-off point, the rest playing around, and then into like the last 16 and stuff like that. I think it's going to be very, very exciting. I have no problem with the format of the new format of the Champions League whatsoever. Now, look, I could be wrong. But I'm excited about it. I think it gives more of an opportunity for big teams to play each other and stuff like that, bigger games rather than separating them up through groups and stuff. So I'm excited about it in that regard. That's why I watch European football. I want to see the best play the best. I don't want to be watching City play fucking Copenhagen. It's a joke. That's like a pre-season friendly years ago. It's disgusting. So look, I've no problem with the Champions League. As for the Super League, I mean, look, they can keep bringing it back all they want. I remember telling a load of people at the very beginning, it ain't going to happen because the fans won't allow it to happen. At the end of the day, a lot of these clubs are built up from the specific area they're in. It's not Formula One. You can't just take Tottenham Hotspur and go and put it out in Bahrain for a week.
No, I
out
know that.
in Abu Dhabi for another week and stuff like that, right? It's never going to be allowed to happen because the fans will not allow it to happen. Exactly. It's just that simple. So I don't worry about the Super League whatsoever. Look, these guys with money, they're never going to take no for an answer, right? Fans all across Europe have already given them their opinion through protests and stuff like that. But my point is, if they keep persisting with it, something bad's going to happen. And who's going to get the blame? The football fans for being too tribal, this, that, and the other. What really should happen is the big money people should be taking the blame. They're the one trying to force something that the fans and the people are telling them they do not want, but yet they keep coming back with it in different disguise, different discussions and everything else. And this is a whole problem of the part of society nowadays. The people with money trying to push things on people that they do not want. When are they going to listen to it? And stop pushing it. It's a joke.
It is a joke. And look, we're going to leave the last word to the man himself, the temporary Red Devil, with his devil spike, ready to poke the two unholy people next to him. As we close this first chapter of the Unholy Trinity. Thank you for you all been blessed. Dave will bless you all when you leave this church of the PHFC church, and we're doing all donations are happy. All donations are welcome. Please super chat memberships. And please do the same for Dave as well. But we're going to leave you with the master, with the man himself, the final sermon. Philip, a man who's watched a lot of football over his life, seen a lot of changes from what the Football League was like back in the 70s to the 80s to the 90s to the 2000s. And players have come and gone. The European Cup going into the Champions League. The Cup Winners' Cup coming and going. You've seen everything.
Yeah.
What's your view on football?
Jesus, darn it. He's only 60 odd. He's not a fucking ancient artifact.
Anyway.
I know that. He has though. We haven't. He has, but he's going to get me late for that. It's going to come down.
If the question's any longer, I'll be going to sleep now in a minute.
Tom Jones.
Tom Jones. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. He's got his medallion down by him.
Right. Think about the Champions League and the Super League, right? In a way, the expansion of the Champions League into 36 teams is kind of a nod and a wink to a super. It's a mini Super League. It's a Super League part one until they move it on to another part. Yeah. It's going to increase the revenue. It's going to increase the number of clubs involved. So in a way, the Super League guys have got partially what they're looking for. Now it may come up in a couple of years' time. That's not enough for them, and they'll come back in with another attempt to really get the Super League going. Because if I'm not mistaken, nearly all the Spanish clubs, bar Atletico Madrid, are up for it. They want to go into it.
Yeah.
So it's going to happen at some stage. So at the minute, what they've got is kind of a stopgap method. I'm actually, and I wasn't looking forward to it at the start, but the more I look at it now, I think it's changing a format that was getting a bit boring. And if it means now that the teams have to actually play both legs, rather than, as Dave says, not bother just tap it around for the first leg, and it's the second one that counts. But he's dead right. The away goal rule being taken away, that was a joke. That was whoever thought that up really wants
I
to.
don't. I don't agree with it. It's more games. It's putting more pressure on squads. It's putting more pressure on big clubs. We will get into this in the next podcast, guys. Thank you, Dave. What? Sorry, Philip. Go on, just very quickly.
No, that's it. No, that's it. I mean, as I say, it's the first step towards the Super League.
Yeah,
Now,
Mr. Harris down there, the man of the mothership of this channel. Where can people find you? And firstly, thank you for allowing to join us on this weekly podcast. It will get a bit more controversial as we get going, but we had to be polite. Well, I wasn't, but Dave and Philip were. But on that point, Dave, where can people find you, sir?
No, look, first of all, I really, really did enjoy this, podcast. It was a really good show. So thanks for, letting me waffle the ears off you for the past hour or so. It's been absolutely fun. You guys can find me over at the Irish Hotspur if you enjoy what I have to say. I got channel predictions coming out this morning. I must say, Darmo, you gave us a great laugh. So make sure you tune in for that. And that's where you can find me. But, look, if you are new tuning in here, whatever you not, make sure you smash the subscribe for these two gentlemen. Philip, we call him the Godfather, despite what other people call him, the Silver Fox, Tom Jones, stuff like that, I've great time for that man. He's an absolute legend. I respect him dearly, and I listen to a lot of what he has to say. And also Dermot up there as well. A good friend of mine, constantly keeps me smiling and stuff like that. So make sure you show these guys a lot of love.
Can I just go somewhere? We've got Philip Rod Stewart Brady. That's a new one.
We've
got Shamoose.
Get your names in the chat for Philip. What do you call Philip?
We've got Dermot, the $6 million man, Moyles. Now, that I will take. That I will take. I don't know if Mrs. Tron would let me take it, but anyway, I'm about to be nailed to a fence for what I about earlier. So if I'm not back tomorrow, guys, you know what's happened. Mrs. Tron has nailed me to the fence and thrown tomatoes at my head. Anyway, on that bombshell, Philip, what we've got coming up on the channel, we've got exciting, aren't we? We're sort of moving into a different speed of sport, aren't we?
Tomorrow we've got the predictions for the Palace game, and we're doing the qualification for the Formula One at 4 o'clock, I think, tomorrow. Then on Saturday, we're going to divide ourselves in half on Saturday. Don't know how we're going to do it, but we're going to do a watch along for the Spurs game and also the Bahrain Grand Prix. So that's going to be they're on at the same time. So that's going to be good. That's going to be a technical wonder how we can manage that.
Are you going to be on different streams or on the same stream?
We don't know. We don't know how we're going to work it. We'll work something.
But Philip sounds so excited about Formula One when you said it. It says, and we're going to do the Formula One. He sounds so excited. You can hear the passion in him. It's so.
How many points for a conversion, Dermot?
3.
No.
Oh, damn. Anyway, we've got Dermot is taking this Ferrari 308 for a service. He is David, the Business Harris. There's your nickname. Thank you so much.
We've got a lot worse.
We've got a lovely comment here from the real N7. It says, "Thanks, lads, for a great show. Keep up the supply." Well, listen, this podcast is for you guys. This is the only way we could have nailed Dave down to a podcast, one a week. It's for you guys. It's for you. And this is why we do it, because we love listening to Dave. You love listening to Philip. And you chuck on tomatoes when I speak. So you've got the whole holy trinity of brilliant. But listen, I'm now off to speak to God. The fallen angel's about to go down to the pub and speak to St. Paul about another pint of Guinness. I don't know what the devil's up to, but he's going to
get rid of my horns.
He's going to go and spike somebody's backside because they've peed him off. On that bombshell, we're back tomorrow. Come on, you Spurs.
Come on, you
Spurs. Trinity. You should
just quickly. If this is going to be weekly, which I think it is, everybody put your comments in the comment section below. Let us know future things you want us to discuss going forward.
Good idea. Good stuff.
That is a very good idea. On that bombshell, see, the fallen angel is the brains of the outfit. I'm going to find my devil's outfit. I'm going to find my devil's spear. On that bombshell, bye-bye. What did you say?
No, I was just saying Anjin.
Anjin, yeah, definitely Anjin.
Oh, yeah, Anjin, yeah.
Yeah. What about you, Devil? What are you saying? You temporary red devil.
I thought you were drinking Anjin.
No, I'm waiting for Philip to say Ten Hag out because he's a temporary Red Devil. So I'm waiting for you to say Ten Hag out.
Oh no, that'll take care of itself. I don't have to say it at all. That'll happen anyway, you know. So.
All right, we're definitely going now because I want my dinner. Speak to you later. Bye bye.